All right, everybody, so we should have done the tutorial already, and we should be moving on to our unknowns. So we've already looked at the indicators for starch, we've looked for proteins, and we've looked for lipids. So phase 4 is testing the unknown. So the unknown solution, if you look over here, it's on the far right on top. So it says, we don't know whether it's a starch, protein, or lipid, so we are going to test it using the indicators to find out what it is. So it says, place an eyedropper of it into the test tube labeled unknown for starch, protein, and lipid. So here are my 3 test tubes. I'm going to take one of each and just put it in there. Boom. Okay, so 1 dropper each into each of the test tubes. It says add the correct indicator solution to each appropriate test tube using the tests you learned above. Okay, so we got to use our memory. All right, what did we use to test for starch? We used iodine. So we're going to take a dropper of iodine and we're going to add it to the starch test tube. Okay, for proteins, the indicators we use are both a mixture of sodium hydroxide and copper sulfate. So I'm going to take a drop of each and add it to my unknown protein test tube. And then for lipids, we use Sudan-3. Boom. Okay, so I still have my test tubes over here to look at. So look, a test for starch. Okay, if it's present, it turns this purple color. And did it? Yes. So most likely our unknown is a starch, but let's go check the other 2. So our test for protein would turn black, and we don't have a black result, so it's definitely not a protein. And then for lipids, this one looks really clear, really similar to our first one over here, which was our control. Our lipid positive test would give us like a red, darkish color, and it's not very dark over here. So most likely, our unknown is a starch. Okay. So make sure you record your observations right now into the data table under phase 4 for what you see in each of these test tubes. Okay? Then what you're going to need to do is work on your CER, numbers 6, 7, and 8. It says write a claim sentence or statement about the contents of the unknown solution. So the unknown solution contains which of the following, starch, lipid, or protein, and then use evidence to back up your claim, and then provide a reasoning to justify your answer. Okay? We're going to do that together in class, so if you need help on that CER, we can do that during the Class Connect. For now, I just want to make sure we get through the lab and understanding how to do it. So I'm going to move on to phase 5 where it says test for milk. So the milk solution in this lab responds most positively to one or more of the indicators. So that means more than one of them are present. So I'm going to take milk and put it into each one of my test tubes over here. So I have to go back to my clean pipettes and pick up the milk one, and I'm going to have to kind of drag and drop over here. It's kind of nice to zoom out on your screen so you don't have to keep using the arrows. Okay, so I have a pipette of milk in each test tube, and then we're going to use the indicators for starch, protein, and lipid. So again, for starch, we use iodine. Oh, it's not clicking for me. Huh, okay. There we go. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, it's being tricky. Okay, there's iodine. For proteins, we used a mixture of sodium hydroxide and copper sulfate. And we use Sudan-3 for lipid. Boom. Okay, so now we look at our results. For starch, remember our starch negative would be the brown color, our positive for starch would be purple. So we don't have that, so there's no starch in milk. For protein, our positive test would give us a black result. And we do have a black result, so milk does contain protein properties, protein macromolecules. And then lastly, lipids shows a more solid, bright red, and this is definitely more bright red. So we can say that milk also has lipids in it, or macromolecules that are lipids. So record your observations into your data table for phase 5, and you are going to write your own CER, very similar to the way that you wrote your CER for the unknown for milk. And once you guys are done with that, you are done with the lab. Virtual high five. Connell out.